The webinar is called The Great Reset, right? And I want to talk about why I call it the Great Reset, because I really think that the lymphatic system is the most under focused on part of our system that is not just as the trash can dumper of our body. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break down the lymphatic system into 4 layers of the system, because most people really only think of the lymphatic system as a superficial layer, and it is so much greater than that. And I really feel like it's really important for people to really understand, like on a deep level, what exactly the lymphatic system does, because it is our communication highway, and it has to do with more than the garbage removal. It has to do with body's the communication, it's our nourishment, movement, and repairing actually our network. Layer 1 is a detox and clearance. This is the more typical conversation about the lymphatic system. It does clean up. It's waste removal on that layer, and people know that, right? So it's function on that level, on that single layer level of layer 1, or what I'm going to call our superficial layer, is also that transportation, right? So it's also an immune regulator. It relates specifically to the lymph nodules, and it monitors our threat on our immune system and manages the cells that are necessary for our body to be able to protect itself on our immune system. That's our lymphatic system that is directly connected with that. And very much our superficial lymphatic nodules that we're familiar with, like when you have a sore throat, either in the neck area, armpit, groin area, those are the collection agencies, but our lymph nodes throughout our entire body are in constant regulation of our immune system as well. It's also fluid balance. I talked a little bit about that, where we are only very, very mildly tolerant of fluids in an extracellular space. So as our blood moves all of our, what I call our liquid nervous system, all of the things that are the intelligence of, hormones, neurotransmitters, information substances, all the things that run through our liquid nervous system, not just the blood, but lymphatic as well. So now layer 2, let's move to the structural flow and fascia. So the physical movement and layer involved in the fascia hydration, this is, pressure and tissue mobility. Briefly talked about that as well, where our lymphatic system relies on our ability for our structure to move. Now, this is a catch-22, right? Because if our structure isn't pumping and isn't able to move, then our lymphatic system can't dump. And if our lymphatic system can't dump, it also can't carry nutrients and repair to the areas of the body that it's needed. That is the fascia's job, or that's the lymphatic system's job. So the effect of the fascia on that is that if we have stagnation, body injury, the fascia surrounds everything, muscles, organs, nerves, surrounds everything. So if we have congestion in that area, whether it's from injury, from lack of motion, from just stagnation, things like that, we're decreasing the fascia's ability to flex and to actually have all of those areas be able to pump and move and get that lymphatic system to move through the tissues. So it's not like the lymphatic system is definitely not isolated as like a single pipeline. The lymphatic system actually runs through the fascia. So clearly the fascia is stuck, dehydrated, has pressure or tissue immobility, then it's going to affect the lymphatic system's job. Layer 3 is the delivery and the nourishment. And this is the part that is so underrated in the lymphatic system's job, to actually transport nutrients, probiotics, different nutrients that the cell needs to actually support cellular vitality and repair. So it's just not like the survival rate of it, like the actual vitality and its ability to repair. So those nutrient delivery systems go from, for example, fats. fat soluble nutrients. Our cells need those. The outside of the cell is made from single fat cells. These are essential fats as well. So cellular nourishment inside the cell needs that supply line to be able to live, to be able to detox, to be able to take in nutrients. And a lot of times we have to detox first to be able to take in those nutrients. And then also the repair part of that. So the repair is supported, which means the healing is supported, and that is required to have those nutrients be able to be delivered. Layer 4. And layer 4 is one of my favorite topics because it really involves even the concept of Chinese medicine. And it's about communication and adaptation. So this layer of how this part of our body works is that the body fluids communication layer involves signaling. And signaling is what I'm going to say is like information that travels with the lymphatic system. So it transfers the signaling, adaptability, our nervous system regulation, and energetic organization. So from a world perspective, large perspective, down to that lymphatic system on the communication and adaptation, what we're talking about is that our communication system in our body relies on information. And information is what our environment, as well as our internal body, can not only give us, but we can create. And the biophoton energy of the body, which is our light energy, bio, body, photon, light. So our light energy expands past our physical body. In Chinese medicine, we've actually even broken down multiple colors of that light energy that correspond to the different elements in Chinese medicine. So, we have different colors like yellow, green, red, blue, and white. And so this is the expansion of our biophoton, and our energy field, whether we're doing acupuncture, whether we're doing prayer, whether it's long distance, whether it's physically hands-on, this is all the energy that we get that I would call in the subtle energy field that gives us alignment for how our body is supposed to function. So these are the things that decrease that as well, other than those environmental things. Sedentary lifestyle, it decreases the pumping action. Chronic stress, it's that survival mode that we physically go into that is not about healing. Our survival mode when we're under chronic stress is the sympathetic nervous system. It's fight or flight. Parasympathetic is healing and rest and digest. Now, that means something very different now that we just kind of went through the lymphatic system. When we're talking about parasympathetic being healing, now it's got a different reference that spreads a little bit further. Because if we are in sympathetic and we lose that parasympathetic mentality or mindset or physical or emotional or energetic space, we are slowing down our ability for our body to heal, creating inflammation and creating chaos in our energy field that leads to distress and illness. Dehydration, which, poor fluid movement without being hydrated, not, like all the way down to the little cells, right? It's super important for just having those fluids be able to move. Environmental load, not just on the ones that we just talked about on the outside environmental load, as far as like EMFs and all of the toxins that are outside of our world. We've got the toxins that we voluntarily put on our body and put in our environment. And then we have the toxins that we involuntarily are breaking down every time we regenerate a new cell. We have toxins that we are generating ourselves. The biggest toxin that we generate is stress, right? So that environmental load creates an inflammatory burden, and then the restricted fascia that slows the circulation. Nervous system overload, which we're talking about in multiple ways, not just stress, but just even it all kind of comes down to stress, but it repairs that or impairs that repair. Poor sleep because we're not getting the detox on our glymphatic system and how our body does detox. So we lose that repair. And so that repair declines. And then stagnant tissue, congestion, accumulation. In Chinese medicine, the word stagnation we use a lot because you get stagnation in the meridians or the energy pathways that is creating dis-ease or disease ultimately. So aging is often the accumulation of all of that stagnation that we can see why it is that we constantly need help, right? The fascia is a collagen producing machine and the lymphatic system moves that, right? So scarring is, or adhesions or congestion or injury to the fascia creates a inappropriate collagen layering and it does not allow for circulation. So collagen, everybody thinks collagen's great, but scarring is actually collagen, right? That's just poorly layered. Is it better to do lymph detox before fascia decompression? So this is a block therapy question. I've had this conversation multiple times, and the way I see it is that if you're doing deep fascia work, then you're getting a movement that, helps to release the fascia. Now use the stone for the repair part of everything that has to happen when you shear lymphatic or when you shear the fascia from injury or for congestion or from tight wrapping. It has to release a lot of toxins because that's just the nature of something that's been stuck and injured. You release it, it releases. Now it's like out with the bad, in with the good, right? So that's where you want to use the stone afterwards. Are the spots on the faces caused by a problem with lymphatic system? I'm using the wand, but it isn't changing them. So spots on the face are excess melanin, and it is due to clusters underneath the skin, on those deeper, not under the skin, but on those deeper levels that are inflammation, stress, hormone imbalance, and excess sun. Now, all of those have to do with the lymphatic system, right? So, but this is the thing is that because they are a little bit more challenging, I actually made a spot correction treatment, a serum, a pump, a lotion, so that it could start working on those. And this is the thing. There's no bleach in them. So if you're looking for like solution in 30 days, even with dark spots on the surface of your face, you've got to give it time, because if you use a bleach, you'll definitely get decreasing and even skin tone evenness and lightening and things like that. But as soon as you go out in the sun, they come back out because you haven't managed the clusters underneath it. So I made a face mask made out of a blue sodalite stone that's imprinted with frequencies to really take care of all of that inflammation, everything under the skin. It's imprinted to repair. The little blue bead, that's different than the little green bead in the spot treatment, that is also imprinted with frequencies to manage all of the things that happen when we have dark spots on a frequency level. So if collagen is too big of a molecule, what is the best way to get collagen into the body? Is taking amino acids better for the body? What's the best way to get collagen in the body, right? So we eat proteins that have amino acids in them. We just need to break them down, right? So it depends on how efficient your body is and how capable your body is. Like as we get older, we tend to need more available protein so our body can utilize them better. So in the process of, even postpartum, because we put out so much energy as an athlete, as, as someone who exercises heavily, as we are perimenopause, as we have stress, as we are, menopausal and perimenopausal, those are all areas that are necessary to have the building blocks for those amino acids so it can produce that collagen that your body needs to repair. So intaking collagen or intaking proteins that break down those proteins are made of amino acids. So the proteins are broken down into amino acids. The amino acids need to be small enough that they can pass the gut barrier. So Your body knows how to do that, but it sometimes is a little bit challenged. So if you're taking, that's why I'm producing this, collagen powder, is so that I can get some bioavailable amino acids, the building blocks of the collagen, to be able to get them into the system, along with those herbs that really help, the vitamin C, things like that. So brand makes a difference, is what I can say. Is yes, take amino acids, take peptides, like not the peptides as we're thinking now, injectables, but the a breakdown of an amino acid is peptides. There's multiple amino acids. There's multiple peptides in an amino acid. So that's the even further breakdown, is the peptide. I actually am doing a recording with Wendy for a podcast exactly on this topic. So that was apropos and perfect. Also super beneficial because I got to talk about the collagen and the things that y'all ask about that. I get to also talk about all of the things about how the energy of the body works and things like that. So I'm super excited, and I've had a great opportunity to be able to just chat with y'all too. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I love my True Energy family, and I will see you. Do you follow me on social media? Because on social media, there's a True Energy Skincare on Instagram and Facebook, but there's also a Cathy Goldstein on Instagram as well, that if you follow me there, we post there as well on what's going on. All right, everyone. Love you bunches. So great to see you as always. And I will see you on the next current. Love you. Bye-bye.